Now we get into the planning phase. And some of the key activities here is defining the milestones that mark progress towards the achieving a successful project. You're developing a detailed project plan or a project schedule, outlining all the various tasks and milestones, and you're completing them with time estimates, contingencies, to accommodate any unforeseen delays. And so the project plan is one of the most important documents that you'll use in a project. It has all the deliverables. It has all the milestones listed, who's responsible for them, the time that it will take, and always providing some contingency, like I said, so that in case something happens, you're able to still complete it within the time frame allocated. You're also implementing change processes to manage modifications to the project scope. Like I said, if anything changes, the scope changes, or the schedule or resources change, you should have a change management process that you can go back to say, okay, now the scope has changed. The project is not going to deliver this or that. And so let's go back to this process to see how we can add the new changes to the project. You're also establishing clear communication protocols to facilitate efficient information exchange among team members and stakeholders. You want to make sure that you have the right communications in place. Are you going to be communicating via email? Is it going to be via instant messaging? Is it going to be via weekly calls? What is the protocols for that? Are you going to be sending a status report every week? All of that needs to be put in place to make sure that everyone is on the same page. That's super important. And then you're drafting and executing necessary documents such as non disclosure agreements or requests for proposals. You're formalizing any agreements. Some of these documents are not necessary for each project, but you need to know if it is, you have to start drafting and completing those as you go along. And then you're also identifying and assessing and managing any potential risk. This is the point where you find out, is there any risk? Have you completed any project of this nature? And what happened? Do you have any risk that you need to make sure doesn't happen with this one? Or how can you mitigate that risk even early on? um, and then you work on convening a kickoff. A kickoff is where the everything starts. You get all the team on board, you get the stakeholders on board, you bring them together, you talk about the scope or the goals, what you're hoping to achieve. Um, you give them the timeline, everything, so that you're all on the same page. Everyone is committed. Everyone knows this is what I need to do to make sure this project is a success. Now, the documents that you need for this phase is the RAID log. The RAID log stands for risk, assumptions, or some folks use action items, um, issues, and then decisions. Or some people say dependencies, like what is dependent on this activity before we move on in the project. So the rate log is something that you'll be using all throughout the project. And so you need to make sure that it's always updated every day if possible. After a meeting, after any communication comes out, anything has to be updated because it's also good for lessons learned when the project is over. Are you aspiring to enter the world of project management, but you're feeling lost on where to start? Let me guide you through every step of the journey, from crafting a standout resume and finding the perfect roles to mastering interview techniques and negotiating an ideal salary. I've got you covered on all of that. Plus, I'll be sending you job alerts twice every week. I'll also ensure that your LinkedIn profile shines bright drawing recruiters to you like a magnet. With my expert guidance, you'll be well equipped to excel in the competitive field of project management. So don't wait. Go to www.pathwaystopm.com/coaching today.